Hi, I'm Dick Bird. This is another custom map from the Gods of Warfare server. We played this last Sunday night. There's no vehicles on this map, it's all on foot. The node layout follows a jagged line from one core to the other, and the paths between those nodes are pretty torturous and a little confusing. It's easy to get disoriented, and that can slow you down at critical moments. The major danger with this map is that the other team will suddenly manage to grab a couple of nodes in quick succession, and you'll find yourself far away from where you need to be. We're doing really well here. We've got them outnumbered by one player, and one of their players is a bit inexperienced, but I think on the whole they do have the best player out there. There's a player on their team, CTR Yellowbird. He's about as good a player as you'll ever see. But he's not going to be enough to carry them through this one. In this match, I pretty much stuck to grabbing the orb as much as possible. In this case, I think I spawned spontaneously at the base, which is where the orb spawns. But through much of this map, I made it a habit of not hitting the fire button when I died, which allowed me to choose my spawn point after a few seconds, and I just made it a rule to invariably spawn by the orb so I could carry it forward, because I just think it's really important to carry the orb forward on this map as much as possible, and if it's idle at all, it's just not good. In this case, another player has taken it on himself to grab it, which is good. I've decided I'm going to run forward and try to anticipate where he needs to go. I thought we needed to defend our prime there a little bit, because it looked like we might actually lose the entire map there for a few seconds, but we're going to bring pressure to bear back on them. I've made a bad decision about which way to go here, and I find myself a bit offside. I'm having to run away from the player here and dodge back and forth between this force field, but I'm going to get him around that corner. And then I'm going to try to play that trick one more time, but this time it's not going to work, and I'm going to die. And spawning back at the base, grabbing the orb once more, and I'm going to try to head straight for their prime, because that's where this orb needs to go. And I've just committed a huge error. I'm going to do that a couple of times. I've got a bad habit of doing that. It's a combination of the hoverboard and the flat cannon and a wall in front of me. I'm not sure how that happens, but some combination of keystrokes causes me to fire flak primary into the wall and kill myself when I'm trying to get on the hoverboard or get off of it. I'm not sure which. Pretty annoying. Anyway, I dropped the orb back there, and at this point I've decided I need to go get it. Well, actually, I decided it was more important to fire on their prime and just grab the orb when it respawned back at the base. But I see that somebody else has grabbed it. Yeah, so now we're both headed for their prime. There's someone there trying to stop me. And here I've decided to go forward and try to attack the core, anticipating that we would take their prime, but we did not, and now I find myself having to make my way back there, and I get there just as they establish some superiority in the area, and they take care of me pretty quickly. So I'm going to go back to base, grab our orb once more, and try to keep the pressure on them, because, you know, again, on this map, if the other team has any coordination at all, then they're, again, did the same thing. This time I'm going to go straight back to base and just pick that orb right back up where I dropped it. Yeah, that's a really annoying thing to do. I do that a couple of times and then I start to think about it. But yeah, I'm trying to maintain pressure on them, because they can take nodes very quickly, and you'll find yourself very quickly offside. But at this point I'm going to manage to cap their prime, and now we are clear to attack their core, and I'm going to go do that for a little while. And I'm going to manage to get a few points off their core here. got one person defending it. This is the inexperienced player, I think. He's having a tough time this night because his team lost a lot, and I think that's one thing this game, I guess you could say that's one thing this game has going against it, is that it does lose players because new players become discouraged. Because in these team-based games, quite often you can find yourself stuck on a team that's just going to lose match after match, and it can become discouraging. But you kind of have to get through that, because it's not really, it's not your fault or anything. I mean, you just have to play through it. I think of this building character, I guess you could say. Anyway, Blue has managed to take their prime back, and you see there I'm pausing. I'm waiting for my chance to select a spawn point. I'm going to spawn back here again, grab the orb once more. At this point, we're trying to take their prime, but they're trying to take the next core along, the next node along, and I believe they're going to succeed at that, so I'm going to proceed there instead. Try to take it back before they can take it. Try to get the next node. I didn't quite manage to cap it, I don't think, but I did get the node over, did get the orb over there, but I think somebody killed it because I have to go back here and grab it again.
I've got the orb.
But anyway, we did manage to hold them off, and yeah, we're once again hitting their prime. And I'm gonna head straight over there. And you can see that these passages, if you're not familiar with them, can get pretty confusing. And when you have to go somewhere very fast on this map, it's a good thing if you don't become disoriented, because you can find yourself delayed for the few seconds that it's going to take for something critical to happen. And I was going to try to attack their core again, but this is CTR Yellowbird again, and he's not going to go for that. And I probably should have just kept going the other way, but I decided I was going to take him out with those rockets, but that wasn't going to happen. And I'm not going to be able to hold off that orb runner with that link gun either. I'm going to wait for the spawn screen to come up, go back to base, grab the orb again.
I've got the orb.
And once again, it's a race to see whether we can... Well, we've got their prime at the moment, so I'm just going to go over there and try to take it back, since their orb runner's going after it again. They are moving their orb, that's the main thing about it, but in the few seconds it took me to get there, they've managed to take down the next node along, so I have to reverse my steps and head that way. And here I find that they've capped the node just before I got there, which effectively blocks it for about 5 or 10 seconds. And in that amount of time, they have a pretty good chance of killing you if they have any luck at all. So if you really need to hold a node for a few critical seconds, it's a good idea to cap it, because it will be blocked from being taken again. Okay, this is the inexperienced player. I'm going to kill him immediately and his buddy. That was a very nice play. There was another blue player hiding in that little alcove behind the force field, and he's going to come jumping out. Our teammates are going to hold this off, and being weakened, I'm going to see the blue orb there and take that out, and proceed once again back to base and grab the orb. Not to hog it, but I do think it's important to keep the orb in play, especially on a map like this, because again, the whole point of this map is that these nodes can fall very quickly, especially if the other team manages any kind of coordination at all. And here, once again, I've gone for their prime, only to find that the next node has fallen in the second or two it took me to get there, so I've got to race that way. And if the other team is doing really well, they can repeat that process. And here they've just capped the node before I got there, thus blocking it from me. I have to make sure I stay alive for the few seconds it's going to take for this node to become unblocked, and there I've just managed to do that. Well, the teammates were blocking for me, so that wasn't too hard. And once again, I'm going to race for their prime to try and take it before they can take that node back, which they're trying to do. They don't manage it in this match, but these matches can reverse very quickly. Again, it's just because the route between these nodes is very tortuous. and the passages are a little confusing, and you can lose precious moments, you know, wandering around trying to figure out how to get from point A to point B and discovering that there's a wall where you didn't think there would be one. And we've just about got this, I think. I'm just trying to hold them off so we can get some attack going on the core, which isn't happening right now, but I think it's about to. They're here, the blue orb runner's losing it. He's going to lose the match for them. He's going the wrong way. He's heading for a node further along. It looks like he's hoping that maybe they can take their prime and then he can cap the next node along very quickly, putting our entire team off sides, but it's not going to happen. Yeah, we just took it. And that's all there is to that. And good evening.
Flawless victory.
Yeah, I think he got a little lost on that.